All right, welcome to this explainer. We're diving straight into CompTIA Security Plus Objective 2.3 today, and we've got to face a pretty hard truth right off the bat. Your digital fortress? Yeah, it's really only as strong as its absolute weakest link. We spend so much time obsessing over our own immediate digital walls, but today we're stepping back. We are looking at the entire ecosystem. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be mapping out the risk ecosystem across 5 key areas: the vulnerability ecosystem, service and supply chain risks, hardware and software providers, cryptographic weaknesses, and finally, the misconfiguration threat. Let's get right into it. First up, Section 1, the vulnerability ecosystem, or what I like to call the illusion of isolation. It is incredibly easy to think of a computing system as this isolated, impenetrable fortress protected by your specific firewalls and your complex passwords. But the reality? Literally nothing operates in a vacuum. A supply chain vulnerability is basically an inherent weakness anywhere in those massive interconnected networks that deliver products from their initial creation all the way to final delivery. Think about it. If a manufacturer halfway across the globe decides to cut a corner, guess what? That becomes your weak link the very second their product enters your environment. Crazy, right? Moving right along to Section 2, service and supply chain risks. This is where we really start expanding that perimeter. Now, service providers are great. They deliver absolutely crucial capabilities. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. A breach at your vendor is fundamentally your breach. You share that risk entirely. So you can't just rely on blind trust here. We're talking about the absolute need for regular risk assessments to catch those vulnerabilities early. Plus, you need ironclad contracts to define roles and guarantee security alignment way before a threat ever goes active. Okay, Section 3, hardware and software providers. These are the literal building blocks of your network. The threats you're facing change drastically depending on what exactly you're procuring. Look at hardware. With hardware, you're battling the physical world, right? We're talking counterfeit components slipping into the supply chain, or maybe compromised firmware that gets installed right on the factory floor. But then you pivot to software, and you're dealing with a completely different beast. Software risks can range from an honest coding mistake by a seriously overworked developer, all the way to a deliberate, malicious backdoor inserted by a bad actor. So, what's the game plan? How do we actually defend against this? Well, for hardware, your frontline defense is aggressive supply chain audits. You have to ensure secure sourcing from strictly trusted suppliers just to lock down physical authenticity. For software, you've got to look under the hood. You absolutely must understand the software's composition, run continuous security assessments, and honestly utilize relentless patch management to seal up newly discovered vulnerabilities. It's a two-front war. And this brings us to a really foundational truth from our source material. Quote, "Careful management and oversight of each element in the supply chain are critical in defending against potential breaches and ensuring the overall security of products and services." Basically, this massive, complex web of vendors isn't a set-it-and-forget-it kind of system. It demands constant, vigilant oversight. All right, Section 4, cryptographic weaknesses, or what happens when the math actually fails us. We all know cryptography is kind of your ultimate safeguard for data integrity and confidentiality. But when it fails, and it does fail, it usually comes down to 3 main culprits. 1, clinging to outdated algorithms that modern computers can just crack in seconds. 2, generating weak keys that simply lack the necessary complexity. Or 3, suffering from a flawed implementation. That's where perfectly good math gets completely ruined by really bad system integration. To fight these flaws, you really need a systematic approach. First off, you've got to properly select cryptographic standards from day one. Get it right from the start. Second, never remain static. You have to regularly update your encryption algorithms, as older ones get deprecated. And finally, just rigorously adhere to industry best practices. Don't try to reinvent the wheel here. Which brings us to Section 5, the misconfiguration threat, the internal errors. This is honestly the most common internal risk we face: human error. Misconfiguration usually just boils down to the incorrect setup of systems. Think about it. You can have the absolute most robust supply chain audits. You can have military-grade cryptography. But a simple, incorrect setup on a single piece of hardware or a network component, that can leave the front door wide open, instantly exposing highly sensitive information to unauthorized access. It completely bypasses all your other defenses. So the absolutely crucial question we have to ask ourselves to protect our ecosystem is this: how do we actually catch these incorrect setups before the bad guys do? Knowing humans make mistakes, how do we build a safety net? Well, the solution requires building highly systematic checks. First, you must regularly conduct system audits to proactively hunt for anomalies. Don't wait for a flag. Furthermore, never just guess. Strictly follow documented configuration standards as your verified blueprint. And finally, employ automated configuration management tools. These are incredible assets because they catch the tiny hidden misconfigurations that human eyes inevitably are going to miss.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a somewhat provocative thought about the true, deeply interconnected nature of your vulnerability ecosystem. You might know your system is perfectly configured and completely secure right now, but do you truly know who built all the individual parts? It's like a giant puzzle. Thank you for exploring this fascinating topic with me, and make sure you keep asking the right questions about every single link in your chain.